This conference will now be recorded.
It's 5:30. Let's go ahead and start our meeting. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Beeson?
Present.
Commissioner Spillman?
Here.
Commissioner Stover?
Here.
Commissioner Tweedy?
Here.
Mayor Warren?
Here. Anybody want to participate in the prayer and pledge allegiance, please stand.
Please pray with me. Father, I thank you for allowing us to come here today. I ask you to be with the City Commission this evening as they're hearing what they need to hear. Give them the wisdom to make the right decisions for the best of the community. We also ask you to be with those that are going to come and speak today. Help them to be able to speak clearly and to get their point across the way they need to. We just thank you for allowing us to come together to have this discourse that we need to have. And we just pray that everybody will be able to return home safely. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Any additions?
No matter there's not.
Do I need approval of the agenda?
I move we approve the agenda.
Second. Any discussion on it? If not, all say aye.
Aye.
Okay, we had awards and proclamations. The first proclamation is the Intellectual Development of Disability Awareness Month in Arkansas City. And I'll just go, since nobody's here, I'm just going to read them from right here. Whereas the month of March has designated as a National Intellectual and Development Disability Awareness Month in order to celebrate and recognize people with disabilities. And whereas disability is a natural part of the human experience and in no way diminishes the right of people with disabilities to make choices, contribute to society, and experience in full the many blessings of American society. And whereas family members, friends, and the community at large all play a role in supporting people with disabilities as they pursue their dreams. And whereas the goals of the city properly include helping people with disability to realize full access to housing, employment, recreation, activities which help to create productivity and satisfied lives, and also to live independently as possible. Now, therefore, the mayor of Arkansas City, Kansas, does here proclaim the month of March 2024 in the Intellectual and Development Disability Awareness Month in Arkansas City, and call upon the citizens of Arkansas City to observe this month with appropriate programs and activities, and furthermore encourage the citizens of Arkansas City to seek information from those organizations with the expertise in matters concerning professionals who support individuals with intellectual development disabilities. Okay, the second one is going to be the Severe Weather Awareness Week in Arkansas City. It's a proclamation. Whereas Severe Weather Awareness Week is an annual opportunity to raise awareness about the importance of preparing for the understanding of severe weather and flooding in Kansas, and to encourage all citizens to prepare their homes, businesses, and communities better for the upcoming storm of the flood season. Whereas the Kansas Hazard Mitigation Plan identifies several weather and floodings as some of the costliest types of natural disaster in Kansas in terms of lost lives, injury, and property damage. And whereas several thunderstorms, tornadoes, floods annually threaten people, pets, livestock, homes, and other property in every county in Kansas. And whereas several thunderstorms, tornadoes, and floods had happened anytime, anywhere without prior warning. And whereas flood damage is not normally covered under the standard homeowners insurance policy. And whereas the state of Kansas, in conjunction with the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, National Weather Service, will observe Severe Weather Awareness Week from March 17th to the 23rd. Now, therefore, the mayor of Arkansas City, Kansas, does hereby proclaim to recognize March 17th to the 23rd as 2024 as Severe Weather Awareness Week in the city of Arkansas City, and urge all citizens to recognize the observance of the appropriate readiness and preparedness action, and further call upon all, urge all citizens to consider becoming more educated about severe weather threats by taking part in the annual presentation in the Storm Fury on the Plains that will be offered this year at 6:30, February the 15th, 2024 at Cal H 8th. Looks like that date's already over with, so I don't know if they'll have it again or not, but anyway. Okay, then we have recommendation of visitors. Number one.
So item number one is the presentation of the Life-Saving Heart of Kindness Award by Children's Mercy to Arkansas City Police Officers Lieutenant Corey Combs and Sergeant Detective Kelsey Hornick, firefighter EMT Isaac Hobbs, firefighter paramedic Brandy Rice, firefighter EMT Patrick Rodkey, engineer EMT Logan French, and fire marshal Chet Ranzu.
Great.
I believe all of them are here. We also have Heather Scruton.
Exactly.
All right. And then Sarah Hills from Children's Mercy are here with us.
So thank you for welcoming us. I'm Heather Scruton. I'm the Assistant Director of Critical Care Transport at Children's Mercy Hospital, and it is my great privilege to be here today. Several years ago, we began a recognition program called Hearts of Kindness, and it was designed to recognize extraordinary actions on behalf of first responders in the care of children. And it's always a pleasure to hand those out, but I got a pretty unusual email from one of my crew members. Now, to put it in perspective, Children's Mercy Critical Care Transport is the second busiest in the United States. We do about 6,000 transports of kids every year. And I will tell you that my team is hard to impress. Okay? They're used to going into places where they don't have resources, they don't have a lot of pediatric training, and they're hanging on by their fingernails. This email surprised me because this was not the experience they had in your community. They received a call, and I'll read this initially from Lauren, my nurse, who I would say is particularly hard to impress. And she said, we went to, and forgive me, I'm an Arkansas girl, but it's Arkansas City, correct?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay. You can call me on that. We went to Arkansas City yesterday, and they had a very unwell young man, which is an understatement. And the whole community did an exceptional job of providing care for him. From local EMS, who made sure we had copies of the rhythms in the field, to the local ED, who managed his care with precision and incredible use of resources. Sorry, I've got on the wrong glasses for this. I don't know if we can recognize them in any way, but I am certain that this community, down to the responding officers who were first on scene and initiated CPR, gave this family whatever chance they had with their team, and that is work to be proud of. I think there's even more to be said here. When you have an out-of-hospital cardiac arrest, very often the outcomes are not good. It's just not, whether it's a child or an adult. To have an out-of-hospital cardiac arrest where you have responding police officers who have received some training in CPR, immediately access the scene, provide CPR to keep this child's brain perfused, to keep the blood pumping, to keep oxygen going, and then to have local EMS immediately respond and use their monitoring equipment, recognize the need for a shock that will restart his heart, and then get him to a hospital that doesn't see that many really sick kids and who's responded in a way that you would see in a large urban area. It's extraordinary. And the fact that she sent me this email and I thought, oh, I'm going to have to reach out. And then I went and investigated. This was January 10th. And by the time I got around to it, it was January 17th. And so I went in fully expecting to kind of have a sat into the story, but we still needed to recognize these first responders. And instead I saw the discharge orders for this young man who was walking out of the hospital that day, fully neurologically intact. That is remarkable. I just can't emphasize that enough. And it would not have happened had not every link in this chain performed at an outstanding level. So it is truly my privilege to come here and recognize the police officers, EMS, and also, it should be mentioned, your local emergency department staff who didn't just give this kid a chance, they saved his life. And they saved his life not just in longevity, but in quality as well. So I just, first of all, would like to recognize all of the first responders, and I'm sure their colleagues who have similar training and similar preparedness in their incredible actions that day. So thank you from Children's. So without further ado, what I would like to do is pull in our responding officers, and we have certificates and then a Heart of Kindness pin. It's just a little pin. We don't give out very many. And I know there's amazing things that happen with first responders all the time, but we really each year try and pick out the ones that just inspired us the most. And this year it is from your community, and we're very glad to give them these pins as well. So first up, Sergeant Kelsey Hornick. Okay, and Lieutenant Corey Combs. Combs, please. And paramedic Brandy Rice. We have an EMS Heart of Kindness board, and your name will be on that. So if you ever happen to make it to Children's Mercy in our EMS room, go look for your name. Oh, there. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Chet Ranzel. I said wrong. Thank you, sir. AMT Logan French. EMT Isaac Hobbs. Thank you so much. Okay. And this is worth mentioning, student Patrick Rodkey. Yeah, good call. Good call. And just one more time, I want to recognize.
Can we get everybody up front so they can get a picture with you?
Oh, what happened in your emergency department was so amazing. And so anytime you get to see anyone who works in your community hospital, especially in your ER, give them a hug because they did wonderful things on January 10th. So thank you. Okay.
I think I want a picture with you.
Oh, are we supposed to be in there too?
Yes.
I think we should have the hospital staff come as well.
Yeah.
You're taller. You want to do that?
Yes.
I'm going center. I'm just going center.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do we have hospital staff?
Yeah.
Introduce your staff for us.
Okay.
Okay.
My name is Bonnie Schieber. I am the manager of the emergency department here in Arc City. I've been doing it for about 15 years. I've been a nurse at the hospital here in Arc City for about 20. So it's home for me. Our staff, Melissa Bodkins, she is a nurse. Cameron Vickery, he was the main nurse for this. She was the PA on duty. So great team. I mean, top of the line team right here. I'm serious when I say that.
Won't you guys come on up for a picture for everybody? Come on up.
What?
Come on up.
For a picture.
And I don't. Smooth Randy and Hornick and up to the front and kind of pull in, maybe see.
Oh, okay.
Maybe the shorter people move forward.
Not short.
I didn't say short, I said shorter.
Thank you, guys. It was such a pleasure to come to the table.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for letting me come.
Yeah.
I believe nobody wants to stick around to hear about the appointment student academic award.
Okay, I was at the hospital today and Tam Crane was really mad at me. Brett Ryan.
Did you like it?
No, she didn't want to lose him on her board. And found out he could serve on both of them.
It's a good friend for Sean. I didn't know that was the only thing.
Hey, we'll go ahead and start at number 2.
I received a presentation from Executive Director Dr. Darcy Ayrock regarding a vape at South Central Kansas.
Marcy.
Did I say what I said?
Darcy.
Hello, I'm Marcy Acock, and I thought they were all coming to learn about reefs. None of them said. What a great presentation. Thank you for letting me be a part of that. You should have my slide deck, I think. It's just great to be with you tonight. I did bring a little brochure. I sent a slide deck down that I really wanted you to have for more information as well. But mostly, I'm just honored to be with you tonight, share a little bit about REAP, recognize Randy. Randy has been a great REAP member. He's one of the very first REAP members that I met, actually, when I started the job. And he represents REAP very well on some committees, and ran into him a couple weeks ago in Topeka again, representing your community and just doing a great job. So thanks for sharing, Randy, with REAP. We appreciate it. If you want to just look at, we'll get you can look at the slide deck on your own, but look at the middle of this brochure. This is really the heart of what I want to share with you. REAP is about communication, opportunities, and collaboration. And we represent over 30 communities in a 10-county area. I'm fairly new in my role. I just started in October. I'm a former school administrator, so I survived school administration, and here I am. But, you know, it's just been a delightful journey and learning about how communities and counties in our area can collaborate to really do great things and support each other, create opportunities to help each other, advocate for each other. And that's what we in REAP are really trying to do, is help the cities and the counties join together. Last week, we had a really great webinar. For an example, our city administrator from Valley Center did a great presentation about using social media and technology to promote your city. And he showed our participants, we had 18 communities represented, and he showed them how to create an app for a community. And I've heard already that potholes are being reported all over the region, that app. That shows our region. And if you want to just move through the slides, our leadership, one of the things I want to point out with our REAP leadership is you see communities of all sizes represented in our leadership. So while we have Commissioner Pete Meitzner as our chair, our vice chair is Mayor Ashley Velasquez from the small community of Keachai. Rod Cry is our second vice chair, mid-sized city of Newton, similar to you all. And then Russ Kessler, our treasurer. And then we have a lot of different committees of different things, for example, like Randy serves on. So our leadership it is very important as we look at leadership for the organization that it is not just, somebody said, well, that's just Sedgwick County or that's just Wichita, and it's not. And that's why Mayor Ashley, she'll move up and be chair of REAP next year. And so, again, hearing the voice of all sizes of communities and representing all sizes of communities is very important to us.
You said it's 10 counties. I'm just curious because I'm not trying to contradict you here, but most of that looks like it's right around Sedgwick County or a little bit north. How far east and west does it go?
So we go, if you look on the front of the brochure, Pratt County
Oh, okay.
we go to the west, we go north to McPherson County, Butler and Cali are east side, and then Harper, Sumner and County along the border.
Gotcha.
So we kind of take that area, and then we have some counties that are members. And one of my goals is to increase our membership. And I feel like coming out to meet our communities and our community leaders is very important. When I interviewed for the job, as a matter of fact, that was one of my questions. I want to go out and meet our communities. I don't think we as REAP can represent our communities if we don't stand in our communities. So thank you for letting me help fulfill my goal tonight. Again, we have some school district members. We actually have a school superintendent that is helping us organize a meeting of area superintendents in this region. And, because we want to help the school districts with opportunities to integrate and connect with our legislative delegation, for example. You can go on to the next one. This is good reading later about, again, what we do around leadership, partnership. Advocacy is really important. If you look in the middle again at that, you can go on to the next one. The reaping the benefits. The connections with the legislative delegation to us are very important. So the legislators have the opportunity to hear from community leaders and hear your needs. And so, I urge you to attend our events. We had a reception with the delegation in early January. Then we had a public forum, and we're doing, there's a South Central Kansas legislative luncheon every week in Topeka. And I always send the information out so our members can see what's going on. We also supply a weekly legislative summary that we send out. And if there's any of you that aren't on our email list, please let us know so we can make sure that you get that information. You can go on to the next one. And we're working on some fun new projects. Internships for high school students are so important, and I'm sure your school district would tell you the same. And so what we're trying to do is work with our communities to maybe the cities and the counties can host some summer interns this summer. And we have some resources to help with planning for that. For example, in El Dorado, their city administrator, he said, we'll take 10. And then he called me and goes, okay, I'm not sure what we're going to do with those 10. But so we're helping him structure that. Mayor Price in Andover is doing the same. And I've talked to Mayor Cry in Newton about that. So that's one of the things. Actually, our meeting this week is hosted by the Circle School District. And they're going to talk about making a work-ready community and how it takes all the stakeholders, the elected officials, the city employees, the staff, working closely with the school. So again, more opportunities for engagement. And I just wanted to come and meet you guys, and I appreciate Randy for setting this up so I could be here. And I just stand before you to answer any questions you might have.
Do you do any economic development?
I think what we do is share opportunities, and we don't go out and do economic development, but for example, in a couple of weeks, we're going out to Harper County and helping do a community impact meeting for them. And I know that there was one in Cali County. And so, while we don't do what I would call standard economic development, we help connect opportunities.
What do you mean by impact? I mean, what do you mean by that?
So that meeting was to get, again, stakeholders, business leaders, school district leaders, elected officials. I did not organize the one here in Cali County because we are part of the Workforce Alliance. And I know they had that. And so it was, again, talking about how all of those entities can work together and really focus on opportunities for youth. And so that's has been sort of the starting focus this year of those community.
So what's those interns like? Some of these cities this summer, what kind of work will they be doing, or do we develop that for them?
So it could be anything, for example, in El Dorado, Dave Dillner is talking about, they're going to have a couple that work in IT. So work with the city folks who do the IT. They have a couple that are very interested in their fire and EMS, about having some students, do some job shadowing, maybe not full on interns with them.
Is this for the summer or just for a day? I mean, how long is it?
Well, and again, and that's going to be structured by the stakeholder.
Okay.
So, what we've been doing in those initial conversations is really sitting down with city administrator, whoever is going to run point, and, saying, okay, what are your goals for this? What do you want to have? How much time do you want to invest? How many students would you like to impact? And so those summer interns are probably going to look different in each of our cities based on capacity and, what there's need for, those kind of things. I know one was going to have, is looking to have someone work even in their finance department. There's a real interest in, building capacity to have more employees work in your city finance department. So again, just about needs.
Tony, you could use about 10 to help clean ditches and mow, couldn't you? Weed eater?
Absolutely. So, but anyway, I just, I wanted to be here. I wanted to meet you in person. And, I'm still learning my job since I've only been on the job since the 1st of October. But, I think it's very important for all of our members to be recognized for the great things they do. And that's one of the reasons we're starting on these series of webinars. And, each of our meetings, we're focusing now on some kind of a learning strategy so that when you attend our meeting, either virtually or in person, you walk away with something that can impact your community as well.
Okay. Well, thank you for coming.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity. Randy, thank you very much. So nice to meet all of you. And my contact information is in the brochure. And if I can ever help you in any way, just reach out.
Thank you so much. On the consent agenda, we have a motion for the consent agenda.
I move we approve the agenda as written.
Second.
Any other discussion on it? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. New business on number 1.
A resolution authorizing an agreement with Professional Engineering Consultants, PEC, to provide a housing master plan and related services for a 101 acre tract owned by the city for an amount not to exceed $28,550.
Well, about a month ago or so, I was at a work session and we started talking about coming up with a plan to develop this 101 acre. I discussed it again, I think at the February 2nd work session again. So we reached out to PEC, who we have a working relationship with to do a bunch of other things. And they have a whole planning arm that works on projects like this. And so we reached out to them. I met with Rick Lance here about what we needed to come out of this plan. Included some community meetings to get some input from some of the area residents, and also a couple of meetings just like through the Planning Commission, let them vet it as well, that sort of stuff. And they'll look at the property itself, the title reports and everything, so we can find everything. We could even go as far as plotting if we needed to for that property. But What we wanted to do tonight was let you speak with our representative from PEC. If you have any questions for him, he can kind of talk about what that project would look like. So
Okay,
not up to you guys.
set him up at the pole. All right.
Eric, Commissioner.
Question, we've had some comments, that street's gonna be pretty busy, especially if we start, building on there and stuff. And they're saying, some of the public are saying that the streets need to be widened and they need sidewalks going all the way around, stuff like that. We be looking at this whole thing like that. I mean, okay.
Yeah, once we get into, and as Josh was saying, so we'll go through this kind of site discovery phase first. So this is really kind of looking at what we would call kind of like existing conditions, right? So we'll be looking at, we'll be ordering title reports, looking at all the encumbrances that are on the land. We'll look at the existing utilities that are there and available. We'll look at the transportation network. We'll look at the streets that are adjoining. So all of those things kind of feed into an initial phase, a discovery phase for a project like this looks like. Now at the tail end, specifically on the kind of street network side, once we have concepts, right? Once we get through that concept phase, we'll kind of have an idea, a very general rough idea of traffic demand, if you will. Traffic engineering, especially operations engineering, I think isn't as hard of a science as most people think that it is. There are some general rules that have kind of stuck with us over time, that each dwelling unit, for example, will generate 10 vehicle trips a day. So we'll have some rough kind of scale idea like that. But based on not knowing a ton of the property today, we'll get there, right? But as of today, I can't imagine that what we're going to show conceptually on 100 acres is going to come with a recommendation to do large scale off-site street improvements.
I know that in the area, how far on both sides are you going to look on both sides of the acreage? Because I know there's some drainage issues on the northeast or the northeast side. There's some real drainage issues. And then my thought also is, with 15th being kind of county, and I mean, it's right there on the border. If we were to put two smaller streets on 15th and 8th, would that alleviate that traffic because you wouldn't have as much coming in there and we wouldn't have to deal with it nearly as much? I mean, just some of the things that I was thinking of.
Yeah, no, we'll look at the full site. We'll look at all the adjoining parts of the site to make sure what we're showing conceptually fits within the context of the area. I know we've already kind of taken preliminary looks at some of the constraints, if you will, south of the site, but I know the school is south of the site. And what when we're talking about connectivity, we're in mobility or transportation, we're looking at how vehicles will use it. So yeah, you have the arterial mile line roads. But whatever concept we show, we'll show additional roadways that serve different purposes. So the most common, like you have arterials and then you have collectors, right, which funnel traffic from the arterials to locals. So we'll have a system as part of that concept that we'll develop. We'll look at how that interfaces with what's existing today and hopefully provide some additional connections for vehicles and other transportation users as well.
I got another question. We had some people say that, we've had a developer come in that bought 4.5 acres up there at the north end, depending on if they get their grant written, and it's affordable housing. It's not low income affordable housing. But some of those people are saying that you can't do that because it's not going to integrate well with what we're going to try to do with that property. But I disagree with that because we have apartments up there on the north end, it looks like to me that's where they need to be at. But how would you talk about that?
Yeah, I think sometimes when we talk about whether it's affordable housing, attainable housing, or low income housing, which isn't really a term that we use very often anymore. So what we're really talking about is, life cycle housing, housing diversity. So I think depending on what we learn during the discovery phase and those adjoining land uses, I know you've got, I think it's some 2-family in that northeast corner. So I think what we're looking at is not necessarily, what we'll look at is kind of character of how all this development works together. There are multiple ways. On 100 acres, you could fit just about any type of development style that you want in there, and still have room for serving as many of community members as possible.
Yeah.
So what we do is when we're looking at kind of land allocation of different land uses, we'll look at the compatibility of those, structure them on the site appropriately, and look at buffering opportunities if some should be needed. But there's not a land use, a private land use on that 100 acres that's inappropriate. It's just how you fit all the pieces together.
Yeah. Good. I know Randy, he was talking about up there, Mountain Ridge, on that development up there that you had some $1 million homes and you had some $200,000 homes, but you had
Yeah, and affordable housing all in there.
Yeah, all in the same area.
And that's what we try to do. So what my group at PEC does, so I work in kind of community planning, right? Which is kind of like high level policy. So working with our municipal partners on everything that's to do with their built environment. And then the other part of my job is working with our private sector partners, our development clients, on taking what cities want and what they need and delivering that. So there's what we focus on is creating like places per se, and I'm trying not to get real high level and kind of planning lingo, right? But on 101 acres, there's enough room to come up with a development concept that can serve just about anybody and what they're looking for.
Yeah.
And it's just up to us to figure out how those pieces fit, right? So when we go through that discovery phase, we look at floodways and floodplains and topography and utilities. That's when we start really getting to play with what works there. But yeah, you could have a concept that has estate style, 2 to 4 acre homes that back up to a floodway, for example, and then closer to your arterials, you could get into some moderate to low density like what's there now, residential use.
Affordable housing, we call it.
Yep. So it'll run the gamut. I don't think it's going to result in a new downtown type development concept, right?
Sure.
But it's going to, I would anticipate there's going to be, we will look for opportunities to provide as diverse of a housing product and plan as possible.
What time span are you looking at, I don't know what take to get all this information. I mean, get something back to us.
I think the way that we put together the document, the agreement was 3 months.
Okay.
In there is some time, right? So a lot of what drives these schedules, if it was just us drawing, just doing our thing, right? Just that's one thing. But public engagement, planning commission, city commission, those typically dictate the schedule. So we could get done with this site discovery phase and the concept phase and have a concept and go to the planning commission and they request some changes and then we go back and draw and come back and they meet once a month, Yeah. So that's but we've anticipated 3 months.
What do you go to somewhat like local realtors here in town, talk to them about what we're trying to do and stuff, get the input from them, or?
Not typically on the front end, but we will engage them. So that's that engagement process. So the way the schedule kind of works, the way we've drafted it is we'll do our subject matter expertise, our technical thing, right? So we'll do the site discovery, we'll do concepts, we'll develop that preliminary concept with the city team, whatever that looks like. We'll present it to the planning commission and solicit feedback there, make revisions, and then we'll have a public event to where we could, send out specific invitations to make sure we're hitting real estate professionals and people interested in development, ordinary, like just normal city, whoever that stakeholder group is. But that'll be that opportunity.
Okay.
When we develop an area this large, is there built-in green space required?
Not required, no, I should say. No, like every city's different on whether or not they require anything in their regulations. But I can tell you the way that we typically, a go. Our typical process is we think there's kind of 4 like primary elements to a site development of this size. One of those is green spaces. So we will be looking for, that concept will not be 101 acres of lots and streets.
The green space could be the flood zone. Right?
Exactly. And that's all the things that we'll come up with. We're going to look at what your guys's, what your comprehensive plan shows. We'll look at the housing study, that all these things, all these policy things, zoning regulations and any other regulations that you have. We'll look at all those too. But there's some general community development rules, if you will, about the provision of green space in these types of development. So green spaces will definitely be a part of it, I would imagine.
Anybody else got any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I make a motion for a resolution authorizing an agreement with Profession Engineering Consultants, PEC, to provide a housing master plan and related services for a 101 acre tract owned by the city for an amount not to exceed $28,550.
Second. Okay, it's been moved and second. Any other discussion?
I might add,
Go ahead.
I had a couple of phone calls, and this is not me. This is what I was asked to ask. And it's, why are we paying the consultant when we have a city planner and a project manager already on our payroll? But you address that one.
certainly. Well, this is of such a large magnitude that we felt like it was important to bring in some outside help, expertise help on this, that do these size of projects and development to assist. Right, we have a professional planner. He's very capable, but I think he would like to have some
Beyond my ability.
And we have one chance to do this right. Once it gets started, it's hard to go back and fix things. We have certain subdivisions within the community already that have drainage problems, and there's nothing we can do about it now because the drainage is across private property. We don't have easements, and so this is our chance to make sure that we looked at it.
And I'm sure Josh has great ideas and has a kind of a master plan on what he wants to see, but he doesn't really understand the lay of the land, how that's going to come into play. And then the other thing that I would say, why I would definitely vote for this, is we've already been accused by some people in the community that we don't want to work with them, or that we're going away from them. And so I think that this, bringing in an outside source, someone that is not involved with the city, I think that's that would give more validity to the plan as well. That, okay, here's what the city wanted, here's what the outside source says. We got it together with the planning committee, and so this is something that we're not out to get anybody. This is something we're trying to work on to make it work for the Ark City.
Yeah. PEC also has that. Obviously we're looking at, like you talked about, transportation, utilities, drainage. All those things have to come together. So they're an engineering firm that do these types of things. Josh isn't an engineer. He doesn't design drainage systems. He doesn't design utility systems and those things. So it's, again, bringing those resources to help us do this the best way we can.
I apologize. What was your name? Lance. Lance, how many guys are you gonna have working on this? 2?
Yeah, we'll have myself, we'll have 2 other civil engineers, we'll have technicians drafting. We will have landscape architects, and we will have creative professionals to do exhibits.
Can you give me just a guesstimate on that?
10.
Okay, 10
people. Easy.
So yeah. So Josh, I like you, but I'm not sure you can do the work in 10 men.
Any other that's your question?
I got enough information. I can give them back.
Okay.
I did want to mention one thing on how we'll pay for this. So we'll divide this up among the utilities because of the nature. This is all planning for utility use and stuff. So that's the dollars will come from the utility.
Do you have other places you've done this for and the results of them?
Not with me today, but
Well,
yeah, we did a 70-acre master plan for the city of Park City that has recently just gone through the subdivision or platting process and has a developer and is we're actually in engineering design of that. We're in discussions with the city of Clearwater on doing something extremely similar on a 40-acre piece of property that they own. So this is kind of the PEC niche when it comes to kind of community design or land development, is working with municipal partners.
Lance, do you have one that's kind of either in process of actually being built or one that's been completed? That way, if any of the commissioners wanted to go up and take a peek at it.
Yeah, I can provide you guys some a list. So I'll have to go and look through our ones that started as master plans,
Right.
and became actual developments. 90% of what we do is starting at the subdivision or platting stage to where we're doing the hard engineering, right? And then it goes where we're doing lots and blocks and streets and right of way and all of that. But from master plan to construction, I can provide your staff some examples in the area.
Thank you.
Let me ask you one more question. It sounds like to me that when you get something like that done, is the developers come to you? I mean, they're watching what you're doing, what we're doing, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, I mean, yeah, there's all some of our public partners, I mean, they'll do all kinds of things post master plan stage. Park City, I'll just give you the Park City example. So that one, they did the master plan, the city did the master plan, and then they actually did a competitive selection for a developer. So they did the request for proposals process to actually pick a developer for it. But yeah, they'll know, the community will know what this master plan is and to be following it and be interested.
But we don't have to limit ourselves to one developer either, right?
No, it's wide open for anybody.
Nope, that's right. And there's different ways of doing, that the private side, the development side goes about that. You might have one developer that has partners that specialize, and like you'll have a residential developer as part of the team, you'll have a non-residential commercial office, whatever the other uses are. They're pretty good about putting teams together. But yeah, you could, I would imagine, very much so, I'm very comfortable saying that 100 acres will result in some sort of phasing of this to where, yeah, phase one is one developer, phase 2, 3, 4, whatever it is, nothing to say that those have to be the same developer. Oftentimes they're not.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? We got a motion and a second on the floor. Any other discussion? Not, voice vote, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Number 2.
A resolution amending resolution number 21-12-3452 concerning the composition of the Northwest Community Center Advisory Board. This is actually an item I put in that I've been working with.
Thank you, Lance.
Thank you, Lance.
Guys on. So in March of 1979, when this board was originally established, it had 5 board members. And in 2021, in December of 21, they went down to 3. And I believe maybe that was from COVID and not meeting quorum. And it was just set that a resolution was set temporarily to where we could revoke it back if we needed to. And so that time has come where they're having trouble meeting quorum with just 3 members, with one person being gone for whatever reason, they can't hold a meeting. So if we open it back up to 5 like originally, I think they would have room to have a quorum and then also make room for a vacancy if that happens.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I amend the resolution number 2021-12-3452 concerning the composition of the Northwest Community Center Advisory Board to be 5 people.
I second it.
Or I'll second it. Okay.
Whoever.
Okay. Been moved, second. Any other discussion on it?
Do they have people interested in jumping in?
I believe so.
I know of 2 that have contacted me.
We have had some applications come in recently, so that's.
So hopefully we can put them on the board at our next meeting. Okay. Okay, any other discussion? Not all in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Number 1,
So Environmental Service Department, this is select one voting delegate and one alternate to attend the 2024 Kansas Rural Water Association Annual Business Meeting to be held Thursday, March 28th, 2024. Kyle's here.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the commission. So I talked with Randy, we assessed it, and I was going to say myself to go, and I got a member of the water, but if there's any other options of people you'd like to send.
Yeah, like I say, I asked Kyle to come up with some names of who they would like to have as a voting delegate for that, since it typically is going to be one of the utility folks. So.
and where's that going to be at?
It's at Century 2.
Okay.
It's probably one of the larger water conferences in the nation. The last 3 days is 26th, 27th, and 28th.
They just meet once a year.
For the annual conference.
Okay.
It's the Kansas Rural Water Association's conference.
Voting.
So
You guys will be up here like 3 days in?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's just one voting form, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll be up there 3 days.
They'll stay up there, hopefully, because they don't,
yeah, some will probably drive back and forth, some may stay, but yeah, that's
they have the option.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's where they get a lot of their training hours for their water certifications. There's multiple, well, it's water and wastewater opportunities for training hours and testing. There's an opportunity to test at the end of the week.
I think with Kyle's possible position he's coming into, I think he's the perfect candidate.
Yeah, I do too.
So Kyle, you would be the voting delegate, and who would be your alternate?
I asked McDavid at the water plant to do it as well.
But he'll be going with you too.
Yeah, he'll be up there as well. He's up there for training.
Okay.
So just in case I don't make it, fill in.
Okay. Well, we need a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we select one voting delegate and one alternate to attend the 2024 Kansas Rural Water Association Annual Business Meeting to be held Thursday, March 28th, 2024. With Kyle and
Mick.
being the delegates.
Okay, let's move second. Any other discussion? If not, it's a voice vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Public Service Department number 1.
A resolution authorizing the city of Arkansas City to accept a bid by Keeler Equipment to purchase a 83-inch by 16-foot sanitation dump trailer for an amount not to exceed $12,250.
Mr. Mayor, Commission, this is a dump trailer that's exactly like the one we're using now. I ran into a situation today. If I had 2 or 3, I could have rented all 3 of them today because people just are cleaning out their houses. Somebody's parent passed away and they were getting rid of all his belongings. But I shuffled it back and forth to the landfill, which was handy, but in some situations, it's not. And so I think if we did have a backup dumpster for this problem, it would be great because one remodel was going on Highland Drive area. They wanted to get rid of concrete and some other stuff. Well, we can't put those in our little green dumpsters because those go in sanitation trucks. So that had to be on hold. The lady that actually rented the dumpster hired some extra help to get her job done sooner so I could possibly get this dumpster tomorrow and get it over to that other house on Highland. So she's working well with us on this problem, but a second one or possibly even a third one down the line would be real handy for us.
The one we have right now, it's pretty much paid for. It's already been paid for.
Oh, yeah, it's been paid long.
And I guess my second right. So my second question is, it looks like it would take 100 uses to pay it off. What do you think that takes? Probably maybe a year?
Possibly a year or less. I mean, once we see how it goes, the rates, as we talked, could always be risen, or we could raise the rates on it for depending on the uses of them.
So this pays itself off pretty quickly.
Very quickly.
Well, it's a service for the people of Arkansas City to use too.
Yes.
So how soon can we get that dumpster thing?
But right now it's on a 5 to 7 week build. Some of them actually buy extender panels and weld them on, so it could be less time. but that's pretty much what everybody in the industry is telling me.
Can you give us a comparison? If I was to go to Keeler's and rent a dump trailer, is ours going to be cheaper or around the same amount?
If you go rent one,
You have to buy one there
it
though.
would be higher, but
No, you can rent them there.
Okay.
I've rented them
you can
before.
rent it from like the rental station and stuff, but their per hour rate is different than ours. Ours is a 3-day rate, actually, $125 for 3 days.
That's pretty cheap.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to explain to people.
It's very,
Yeah, that's very
If
cheap.
you want a better deal, come to the city.
There you go.
it's very customer friendly for that price. Because Waste Connections, when they roll out their big green dumpsters, even for I think those are 20 yards, they're paying $300 and some
Yeah.
one-time set fee. And then you have to deal with big truck roots and stuff in your yard or your driveway or wherever you want to put.
Now, this trailer can be backed in, it's on wheels, right?
Yes,
Backed in.
it's portable. Yeah, it's pintle hitch hookup, and we can back them into anywhere with 3/4 ton or 1-ton truck.
Well, that being said, I make a motion on the resolution authorizing the city of Arkansas City to accept the bid submitted by Keeler Equipment purchase of a 83-inch, 16-inch sanitation dump trailer for an amount not to exceed $12,250.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved to second. Any other discussion?
Tony, have we used their services before?
Have we?
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Okay.
What about the original one?
So they've got a history with us, all right.
Any other discussion? Not all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Yeah. Items on the discussion by the city commission.
I'm good. Believe it or not.
Comments from the audience that's not on the agenda.
I don't have anyone that signed up on here to speak before the commission.
Yes, I am. I didn't realize that I needed to
Okay.
sign up.
Yeah, if I could just get your name.
Sure.
Tipsy's got her done.
Maybe set the clock for 5 minutes.
Okay, if you want to, ma'am, if you want to go to the podium right here.
Well, good evening, everyone. My name is Linda Stanley. I've been a citizen of this city for a few decades. I know many of the faces in the room. And I'd like to give a special thanks to Mr. Swartz for handling a problem for me that I had in my neighborhood recently. So thank you.
Did it work out right?
It did.
Okay, good.
It did.
I didn't know.
And it was pretty immediate. So thank you so much for making the calls. I stand before you because I am very hurt and disgusted by the streets in our city, sidewalk streets, the cobblestone streets. I happen to go to a church that is on a cobblestone street. Every week I get out, I break something. You know, it's just hard to walk on those cobblestones when they're in such bad condition. Today I was coming from the post office and I happened to go down A Street. There is a huge dip in the street. So after damaging and destroying a couple of wheels on 2 different cars, I'm here to find out what can be done about our streets. They're in bad condition all over the city. I live on the very northwest side of town. And when I go to the post office every day to pick up my church's mail, I have to really think about it, or I'll run in a pothole, or I'll run in something that's curbing that's bad, or it's really bad. I actually have a few instances that I wrote down. And also, in front of my house, there is a huge crack. I paid for specials for my street about 15, 20 years ago. There's not been any improvement done to my street since then. And now there is a huge crack right in front of my house.
And where,
I'm sorry,
Where's that at, man?
on North 14th Street. I live in the 1200 block of North 14th Street. The crack is right in front of my house, and it has grass that grows up in the summertime, weeds in the winter. I just received my tax bill. My taxes have gone up. And I know as a citizen that we do need to do things to support our city, our county, our state. And I'm proud to live here. But I am hurt by the way that the streets are just not being repaired. I recently went down a street that was repaired with some kind of black something. Is it tar? I'm not sure.
It's probably,
Chip seal.
no, it's probably asphalt or some kind of asphalt.
With the chipping.
Yeah,
Chipping board.
yes.
Okay, I was on my way.
Seal.
Yeah, I was on my way to a funeral. I think it was at Calvary Chapel, and it just beat my car up. You know, it just chips and beats your car up. So I would like to see us go to asphalt. I was recently in Winfield. I was on some of the side streets, and they were all blacktopped. So I would like to see the improvements done, but I would like to see it done in a manner and with material that will last over the years, that we don't have to keep doing improvements to. So that's why I'm here. Some of the places that I wrote down, there is a new pothole at Kansas Avenue and 8th Street. If you're turning to go south off of Kansas Avenue onto 8th Street, you're not going to miss that hole. You have to drive in it in order to make that turn, unless you turn into a car. So also at 8th Street and Walnut Avenue, there's a dip there. If you don't slow down, you're going to wreck the front end of your car. So I'm not one that comes to city commission meetings, or I'm not one that complains. I do love my city. I've been here many, many years. So I would just implore that you please look at doing something with the streets that would improve them so that we can drive on them and get from A to B without damaging our cars. Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you for coming.
City manager updates or?
Just remind you all to check out the financials summary in the back of the packet. Reminder, the 22nd, the auditors will be here. So this week, if you do come into finance during the day on the 22nd, you might flag in. It's gonna be a little stressful in there, but I anticipate everything to go well there. Mayor Warren and I will be going to Wichita on Friday to receive an award from the Contractors Association on our wastewater treatment plant project. So that'll be interesting. South Central Kansas Health Banquet is their foundation banquet is on March 2nd. I think you all have your tickets for that. On March 13th, Larry and I were going to be going to Wichita to meet with the attorneys that worked on the Evergy rate case is about our street lights. Whenever Evergy was doing their rate case increase, we had an intervention in there on street light costs, and so we're going to find out more about how that turned out. We know it didn't turn out the way we had intended it to, but it did stabilize our pricing instead of it going up. So we'll learn more about that and how that's going to work.
Has Evergy got a plan for replacing all the defective bulbs that they put up, the ones that turn purple or whatever?
Yeah, I don't know that. I imagine they're leaving them up until they burn out, but
More than likely. I haven't seen any in a while.
We can check.
Well, there are still a few out there.
There's a few. Better. I'm going to bed too early.
Friday, I gave you guys a printout of the updates on the PEC projects we have working with on the city. Water well 16, the documents are at KHU for review. That's kind of an offset drilling of water well 16. They've been working on the design for the golf tower rehabilitation. So that's basically cleaning and painting the golf tower. Those documents have been submitted to Rod and for his review, and they're working through that. The east pressure zone improvements, that's what we've been working on for over on the east side of the Chestnut with storage, elevated storage and water line improvements and things that we're working on that, and they've updated their work order and based on KDHA provisions and waiting for Rod's approval on that. They've also submitted an SRF pre-application, so that gets in the queue for financing the SRF loan. The master site plan, master development plan that you just heard about here a few minutes ago, that's been moving along. The water treatment plant expansion, so we're looking at adding some new an additional green sand filter to the plant to help with additional volume. Also to treat manganese, and we're working on.
There's room in the existing plan for that.
There is. It was set up for another green filter and the
gives better
osmosis
capacity.
Yeah.
I've been working with Josh on some floodplain regulations. You have anything on that to add to that, Josh? What with them on that?
Oh yeah, we're meeting with JEO Consulting on. We're doing the levee recertification that it's been before you, but we're also looking at the possibility of seeing if we can do some things to reduce our floodplains. We're getting ready to have some maps come out again, and it looks like they're going to expand the floodplains. So we want to see if there's anything we can do to reduce that, reduce the flooding chances too, just in general.
And then on the 28th, we have a meeting with PEC to talk about some potential street funding projects and some stuff like that. So we've been working with PEC on a number of things, and it's been a good partnership so far. Then Nick put together the updated on all the projects he's been overseeing. So is there anything on there, Nick, that you want to highlight? Particularly, it's just just kind of an update on the projects and where they're at status-wise.
Yeah, I was just going to bring up, I had 4 of them. The very first one, asset management valve exercise. We use Trimble GPS satellite service, basically, that allows us to track all of our valves. We catalog it. Really, it's coming down from the state as far as knowing all of our assets within the city, knowing the age of them, which helps prepare us so that when we need to find a certain valve, if we have a water main break, we're able to use technology rather than just memory or a piece of paper that's from the 80s and trying to find a specific valve to shut off. We can use basically an app that can find it for us instantaneously. So it's been going great. The guys go around valve exercising, but then also locating them. Randy bought the levy certification, the City Hall security install that's highlighted in gray at the bottom. That was installed about 5:30 p.m. on Friday, which has been great. So files have been handed out. We feel very comfortable and secured in certain locations with documents and such. So very happy with that process. And at the very bottom, the fire station rehab. The next steps have been taken with the architects. We're very, very excited about where this is going to be ending up. We can potentially see rendering, not potentially, we will see renderings. We'll see more of a tangible item that we can really take a look at and truly understand what this fire station will look like if we continue moving forward. So it's great things. You'll see 15 different projects currently listed on there as we're moving forward. So,
Randy, what's the Central Trail Transportation Grant? What's that? Does that go in with the hike bike trail?
It is. So that's the one that is from Parish Park that runs south.
Okay.
And ties back into the levee.
That's the other one. Central Trail would be the one going north, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
North and south.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Carver.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm confused. Yes. So yeah. We got a sunflower grant for that. And so we're looking at trying to do that in-house if possible. We think we can do it with the funds that we have from the sunflower grant.
How much was that?
50,000.
Okay.
Did you also get a grant from Blue Cross and Blue Shield? Did that ever come through?
Yeah, that was go ahead.
That came through. We have everything purchased. Our crews are just, obviously, we have great weather this week, so we're going to start implementing, but we had to do the design phase, meet with the individual parties of who are part of that to make sure we're all on the same page. So it was more purchasing, waiting for it to come in, which I took a little bit, design. So we'll be installing here very shortly.
And Nick and I had a chance to meet with the county clerk today to talk about possible election dates to work on the street projects that we've been talking about. So we'll have some information on that, what that may look like. We'll have to talk with bond counsel on what wording.
You might explain to her what we're trying to do, so she'll, well, just listen. Yeah. And say.
And we'll look at some wording on for a ballot comp. So, but we've put together a plan to tackle streets with purchasing equipment, adding some extra staff. What we're proposing to do would be a half-cent sales tax. So we're looking at taking that to the public for a vote sometime here in the summer. Streets are one of the least funded part of the city that we have. It's basically from motor vehicle taxes and gas tax, and it doesn't even come close to meet the needs of what the streets are needed to repair them. So we feel like with the half-cent sales tax, that would give us the funding we needed to be able to do more with the streets and get, tackle the problems that you mentioned earlier. So.
Well, and the thing about it is that, people outside our community that live here use their streets and stuff. And, sales tax is most fair thing. They have to pay their fair share too, because they use their streets.
Yeah, I don't see how you guys aren't damaging city vehicles right here at First Street and Chestnut.
I know. It's bad.
So we know, we hear you, and we're trying, we're working on things.
And there was a town hall meeting probably, what was that, 3 months ago? 3 months ago when you had that first meeting to try to talk about the half-cent sales tax. And there was several community members. It was not received well, but we are working on a plan to try to present it in a better way. Maybe it'll be accepted.
That'd be great. Because I think if they understood that it was going to go for streets, that's really speaking my language.
Thank you for coming tonight.
Thank you so much for allowing me to come on short notice. I didn't know.
That's fine. Thank you for coming.
I've been to a commission meeting since I was about 25. I'm years older than that.
Thank you for coming, voicing your opinion. Thank you.
And finally, this report I laid on it's something you can look at on your own, but KU, University of Kansas, they did a kind of a survey of local governments across the state, looking at things that are that we feel are problems that we're concerned about, weather, droughts, infrastructure, those types of things. So it's kind of a high level, but it's just something I think you might enjoy reading. So that's all I have.
Anybody else say have anything for good of the cause or?
No, I'm with you, Jerry.
I second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Get out of here.
I just had this first.